Mikel Merino, for the past 9 or so months, has been one of the most talked about football players in the world. But to talk about him, we first have to talk about this man. You see, when Joelinton joined Newcastle in July of 2019, Steve Bruce didn't think he was signing a midfielder. He thought he was signing a strong, physically commanding centre forward who could bully defenders and help Newcastle get to where they should be. In fact, he was their record signing, coming in at about £43 million, an unspoken amount for a Newcastle who were yet to be bought by Saudi. But Newcastle certainly didn't get £43 million worth of a striker. Fans labelled him clumsy, lanky, and like he couldn't use his weight at all, not to mention he missed a lot of big chances. And it was Eddie Howe who had a brainwave. Joelinton started playing in the middle of the park, started breaking up attacks, starting his own, and was really a live wire in the midfield of an otherwise tired Newcastle. He has not looked back. He hasn't played a game up front in years and has proven himself to be one of the most reliable midfielders in the Premier League. And this was a huge deal, especially on the likes of football Twitter at the time, because it was one of the first real examples of a player having a proper position change in their entire professional career, save for the odd David James up front, especially in recent memory. And we are starting to see something similar with the Spaniard known as Mikel Merino. And Arsenal signed Mikel Merino as cover in their midfield department, with imminently on his way out and our midfield definitely needing a new sort of spark. And he didn't do very well at all. Fans again labelled him clumsy, lanky. He was slow on the ball. He was slow off the ball. He didn't really look like a fit in this Arsenal team. Games were really passing him by and he wasn't having much meaningful impact. But then two very crucial things happened. Crucial thing number one, an injury to Gabriel Jesus. Shock. Crucial thing number two, an injury to Kai Havertz. Less of a shock. This meant that at Arsenal Football Club, there was no fit, discernible striker. So save for the odd Leandro Trossard experiment or, God forbid, Raheem Sterling experiment, Arteta opted for Mikel Merino. Now on paper, this works. A left footer, 6'2", plays for Spain. It's not a bad idea, but I don't think fans were prepared for just how well it worked. It was against Leicester City the first time that Mikel was brought on as a striker, and what did he do? He bagged twice. Arsenal ran out 2-0 victors over Leicester, with Mikel Merino scoring the brace that got Arsenal the win. And fans, especially on Twitter, were buzzing about it and calling him Mikel Pele, Mikel Cruyff, Mikel insert striker's name here, Mikel Ronaldo, there's one for free. Mainly because they thought it was chance and a fad and a total coincidence. But I don't think people were ready for just how consistent his numbers were going to be. Now, I'm not here to tell you he's the next Haaland or he's the answer to all of our problems as Arsenal Football Club, but he certainly put up way more consistent numbers than I think anybody was ready for him to do. And you've got to look at it on paper. He scores in small games. He scores in big games. He scores, not to mention his form for Spain, which is among some of the elite strikers in Europe on an international level. The guy has just been playing like a 7.5 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10 striker. And it really gets me wondering what his legacy is going to be as a football player. Will people remember him as a midfielder? Will people remember him solely as a striker? Will there be debates about whether he was better at one or the other? Because he was better as a striker. And going forward, if a club tries to sign him, and going forward, come the summertime, for example, if a club tries to sign him, are they going to try to sign him with being a striker in mind? Because look, I can only go on what I've seen. And what I've seen is Arsenal, week in, week out, from the minute Mikel Merino signed. He's a better forward than he is a midfielder. He picks up better positions. He's more incisive with his shooting. He shoots in really good locations. He's a striker. And just like how Joelinton found what he was good at and never looked back, I don't think Mikel Merino should ever be a midfielder again. He's just better doing what he's doing now. If someone like Sociedad came back for him, let's say, maybe even in 2 or 3 years' time, that could be a real viable move for Real Sociedad to sign a striker. He could go, he'd play 38 games a season up front, he'd score 12 to 16 goals in a season, I have no doubt, and he would be seen as a very middling to good striker. The similarities, although they are opposites, between Mikel and Joelinton have been absolutely hilarious to see, but also really, really impressive. Not only do I think it goes to show just how talented football players are, that they have this kind of, what's the word, it starts with a V, Not only is it hugely impressive that football players in general have this sort of adaptability just in the back pocket, but I think it's so crazy that it's not utilized that much. I mean, imagine we had a world class outfield player have their goalkeeper sent off in a game, play on goal, and just never change, or vice versa. And I just think that Mikel Merino is such a case that we're going to look back on in 10, 15 years when the next generation of football fans are coming up and starting to look back on the club that they supported, whether it's Sociedad or Arsenal, and they will see completely different players. A Sociedad fan who grows up in 10 years' time will be like, oh, we used to have this midfielder, he was okay. Arsenal fans will think, wow, we used to have this midfielder who became a striker. And if he goes to another club, signs as a striker, that fan base will think, wow, we used to have this striker who was quite good. So for anybody watching, if there have been any players that you've overseen do anything quite like that, I would love to hear about it because it's one of the most fascinating aspects to me in football. So get writing in the comments. I would love to hear about it. And I just wanted to talk about Mikel Merino. He deserves some praise. He's been doing very, very good for what he's been dealt. Have an okay day.